and welcome to the Sparrow Quilt Company Quilt Block Studio. Today we are going to be making a double disappearing 9-patch. So we are going to create this huge block, and then we will cut it into 4 blocks as you can see shown here. Let me show you what we're going to need to get started. You are going to need 4 7-inch squares of maroon, a single 7-inch square of black, 4 5-inch squares of dark gray, a single 5-inch square of black, and 4 5-inch squares of a bright red. The first thing we're going to do is set aside the 7-inch squares, and we're going to create a 9-patch. I showed you how to create a 9-patch in one of my prior videos, but let's just quickly show the layout here. We're going to put our reds in the outer corners, and our single black 5-inch square is going to go in the middle. The gray will fill in all the spaces. Sew those together in rows, and you will soon have a 9-patch. Now, once you've completed your 9-patch square, you're going to need your ruler and your rotary cutter. We are going to cut down the center of this block on the vertical, and we're also going to cut across the horizontal. These blocks measure 4.5 across the center, so I want to cut at the 2 1/4 line, and I am lining up my 2 1/4 with the 2 1/4 with this seam here, and that will give me the middle of the block. Got to double check and make sure it's right before I make that cut. Now I'm going to do my best not to disturb those. I want them to stay exactly where they are so that now I can cut on the horizontal. Again, I'm going to cut at 2 1/4. So I got 1 2 1/4 inch, and I am lining up that 2 1/4 across the horizontal, and then I will go ahead and make that slice as well. All right, so now what we are going to do is make these our outer corners. We're going to bring back our 7-inch squares. The single 7-inch black square is going to go in the center, and the maroons are going to fill in the empty spaces. So what we have here is just a complicated looking 9-patch. Now again, we're going to sew these together in rows. Make sure we put these together with their right sides facing and sew that 1/4 inch seam. So let's go ahead and do that now. I like to sew with my seams on top and my solid fabric on the bottom to ensure that my seam stays going the proper direction that I like it to go. And just remember to hold those tails at the back when you start your stitching. Make sure it's all lined up. Place these 2 right sides facing, and again we'll do that 1/4 inch seam. And I'm chain piecing here, as you can see. It is a little bit faster and saves on thread. Line these ones up as well, the right sides together. And bring those over to the machine. Now let's separate those blocks from each other and put them back into their places so we don't get things confused. And then we're ready to join that last block in each row. Again, putting them right sides together. And I'm still sewing with my seams up where possible. Make sure you line them up really well so that everything turns out really nice and straight. Here's our last one. And let's give that a quick stitch. All right, we've got our rows all together. Oops. We'll lay these back out. Oh, make sure that your smaller squares are facing towards the center of the block. And next, what we are going to do is press them. So if you press this step to the inside and the middle row to the outside, and the bottom row to the inside, then your seams will alternate and they will fit together really well. So let's put those again with right sides together and we'll give those a quick pin. I always use my pins when I am matching intersections. It just gives me better results. And I do recommend slowing down when you're stitching over those pins. You don't want to go too fast. Keep your eyes safe. What I love about this block is how complex it looks when really it is so very simple. Pause and line up that bottom little corner. Now we can join the last row onto our block. We are almost done. And I always lay this out properly just to make sure that I get it together correctly. You'd hate to sew your rows together wrong. So we're going to bring this over so that it's right sides facing that bottom row. And make sure that you are keeping your seams pointed in the right directions. That will help reduce the bulk in your seams. I'm using fork pins, but you can use whatever kind of pin you like. I find these ones give me the best results. So we can get this under the needle and sew it with our 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, we're almost there. All right, let's get these pins out of here and see our block. So this will lay a lot flatter once we have got it pressed, but here you can see the finished block, and I would just press both of these either up or down. It really doesn't matter. And now at this point, what we're going to do is come and cut down the center on the vertical plane, and we're also going to cut across on the horizontal, and then you will see that we will have the same block that I showed you in the beginning. Here. Once we've made those cuts, you will have 4 blocks like this. And then you can turn them and rearrange them however you like and make your quilt look really tricky, although it was really quite simple. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.